Our top story tonight. Over 24 people were injured following a train collision on the east-west line this morning. And here's what unfolded. Well, the first problem started at the Circle Line at around 6:30 a.m. A signaling fault affected the stretch between Ferrer Road and Buena Vista stations. Now, this disrupted the morning commute of many people. Crowds were seen forming at several stations. SMRT gave the all-clear 2 hours later at around 8:30 a.m. But another unrelated fault also took place on another train track. Now, a train stalled at Joo Koon station on the east-west line at about 8:15 a.m. Now, and then another train then pulled up behind it, but a collision took place a minute later after the train lurched forward unexpectedly to hit the first train. Now, the impact caused some passengers to be flung onto the floor. 28 people were injured, 2 of them SMRT personnel. About 2 hours later, civil defense officials confirmed that 25 people had been sent to 2 hospitals, NUH and Ng Teng Fong Hospital. SCDF added that a majority of them had suffered minor injuries. While SMRT halted train operations between Boon Lay and Tuas Link stations to retrieve the 2 trains. They were removed at about 3:15, some 7 hours after the collision. Well, train operations between Joo Koon and Tuas Link will be suspended tomorrow. SMRT said this is to conduct assurance checks with Thales, the contractor responsible for re-signaling works on the north-south and east-west lines.
Our preliminary finding is that the first train departed Ulu Pandan depot with a software protection feature, but the feature was inadvertently removed when the first train passed by a faulty signaling circuit. This train then arrived after finishing its journey to Pasir Ris and back. It arrived at Joo Koon station without this feature. The removal of this feature resulted in the first train giving off a train profile on the new signaling system of a 3-car train configuration instead of a 6-car train configuration. So as a result, the second train detected that the first train as a 3-car train and misjudged the distance between the 2 trains, therefore resulting in the collision.
Now, what we've learned from the press conference was that there was actually a 10.7-meter gap between the 2 trains before the collision. The speed of the second train when it collided with the first was 16 kilometers per hour. There was a driver in the second train, and investigations are still ongoing as to whether he had enough time to react because the train had only stopped for 10 seconds before it hit the train in front.
We are still investigating, downloading the logs to establish the ability for him to react given the short distance and the short time period.
Now, LTA said the driver wasn't inexperienced. In fact, he has been a driver for 1.5 years, and he was also one of the 2 staff that was injured. The other was an assistant station manager. Now, LTA said those who have injured themselves and had not sought medical help can also approach any MRT stations for assistance in how to do so. And LTA also said Thales is a company in charge of SMRT's signaling systems, and they are working with them to investigate the matter. Meanwhile, Thales said that this is the first kind of such a fault. Now, as a precaution, and so that investigations can be thoroughly carried out with Thales, there will be no train service between Joo Koon and Tuas Link stations tomorrow. Commuters can make use of the bus bridging services then. Now, other measures include increasing the separation distance between trains on the north-south, east-west lines, and that means waiting times for trains on those lines will increase from 2 minutes to 3 minutes, and so commuters should plan for that.
Well, Transport Minister Corbin Wan apologized to commuters for the Joo Koon train collision. He spoke to reporters after the news conference on early findings of the incident.
It's the first major incident involving the new signaling system. Thales is confident of their system, but I advise the team, let's play doubly safe. Safety is involved. That's why I advise them to suspend the Tuas West extension tomorrow. Then we have a whole day to do a starter check before we resume the Tuas West extension. It's an awful day today. Commuters were inconvenienced and some even injured. So we are deeply sorry for that. Those who were injured in hospitals, the Second Minister Chi Ming, as well as Dr. Lam, SMS, visited all of them. They have been most understanding, and we are deeply grateful.
Well, meanwhile, as investigations are ongoing, Mr. Kaur said if the facts surrounding the incident are clear, there would be no need for a committee of inquiry. Now, in the meantime, 3 commuters have been warded for observation following the collision.
More than half of the injured were taken to the National University Hospital for treatment. Besides commuters, there were also 2 SMRT personnel. The rest went to the Ng Teng Fong General Hospital. During a media briefing on Wednesday evening, the Land Transport Authority said most of them were given outpatient treatment.
Basically, most of the injuries were related to knocks and falls and bruises. I think, if I'm not wrong, one had a face injury with tooth broken. And then the others, I think a few with face injury. I think they hit the handhold. But I think there was one which I think fainted because of low blood sugar level or something like that. Yeah.
SMRT said it took measures to help those who were hurt in the collision.
We have care teams deployed on scene right from the beginning to assist in the passengers who sustained injuries. Our senior management, including our chairman and CEO, visited the commuters at the hospital, and then we are still keeping in touch, providing all the care that's needed to the 28 of them who were seen by the hospital.
He added that any commuter who was affected or injured and has not received medical attention can approach its staff at any station for help.
Well, it appears this morning's collision had some effect on evening rush hour traffic at Joo Koon.
It's business as usual here at Joo Koon MRT station. Now, train services have been up and running since 5:15 p.m. just as rush hour began. Now, earlier today, there were engineers, technicians from SMRT who were working to move the 2 trains off the track above. Now, train services between Boon Lay and Tuas Link MRT stations in both directions, now that's 7 stations in total here in the far west of Singapore, were suspended for about 3 hours from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. so SMRT staff can resolve the issue. It earlier said that the disruption was going to last for about 2 hours, so that's an additional 1 hour. Now, let me just briefly highlight the significance of the west of Singapore here. Now, it's where many industries are located. There's a military camp nearby, as well as a university one stop away. So it's a route used daily by a lot of commuters. Many I spoke to expressed their frustrations over yet another train disruption, as even hours after the train started running again here at Joo Koon, they had to add up to 15 minutes of travelling time. Here's what they had to say.
Delay my so-called travelling time.
What do you think about it? What do you think?
Very inconvenient.
Of course, you add to additional journeys, additional time, everything. But I think it's not much of an impact, if you ask me. It's quite a hassle, to be honest, because actually it's a direct route for us, to be honest. But then now we have to do a lot of transfers here and there.
Well, one immediate measure taken after today's incident is to increase the distance between 2 trains while they're travelling, a move welcomed by one expert.
Increasing the headway between the train is a very sensible move because it's a clear indication that SMRT take this one very seriously, and they really want to assure that the new signaling system is really the reliable as promised. That's the first thing they really have to do.
And another expert says the software glitch could have been prevented.
Overall, the system is working as designed because, frankly, things could have been a lot more serious. I think we're all very lucky that they weren't more serious, but multiple failures had to have occurred in order for this to happen, and what SMRT is going to have to do is give the public a convincing explanation of why these failures occurred, and I think more importantly, look into the systems or processes which allowed the failures to occur.